Welcome, everyone. I'm the Undertaker's daughter, and I'd like to tell you a story. It's Friday the 13th in May of 1837, and between 500 and 800 people, some sources said as many as 1,000, have gathered on the banks of the Tennessee River behind the Kendall House Hotel within sight of the newly constructed Cherry Mansion. Why are all of these people on this particular spot on this particular day? They've come to see Hardin County's first execution, a hanging of a woman. Her name was Polly Hughes, and she had been convicted of murdering her husband, a conviction that was not hard to achieve because she readily admitted to her crime. He was an abusive drunk who tended to take his anger and his frustration out on his family, particularly his wife. On this evening, he had come in, the evening of his death, extremely intoxicated, but instead of beating on Polly as was his custom, he fell asleep. And I'm sure she stood there contemplating which was preferable, his death or her pain. She chose his death. Her weapon of choice depends upon which version of history you choose to believe. She either poured molten lead into his ear, beat him about the head and shoulders with a stick of firewood, or some sources say that stick of firewood was actually an axe. Whatever she used, it did quick work of the job, and when the deed was done, she laid out his burial clothes and went to bed, intending to escape the next morning. Unfortunately for Polly, her deed was discovered before she could flee the town, and she was arrested. She was tried in circuit court in Hardin County, convicted of his murder, and sentenced to death. And on this day, that sentence was to be carried out. It seemed like most of the county had actually come to witness this event. There was one person who was conspicuously absent, the sheriff. He could not stomach the thought of presiding over a hanging, much less the hanging of a woman. So he hired his deputy sheriff, Jesse Jones, to tend to the execution. It was Jones that either had the gallows constructed or chose the hanging tree, whichever version again you believe. It was Jones who tied the hangman's noose, Jones who placed the rope around Polly's neck, and Jones who gave the order to the slave Joseph Kendall, who had been hired to drive the cart from beneath Polly's feet. Now, there's a lot that we don't know about Polly Hughes' hanging. We don't know her husband's first name. We don't know where either he or Polly are buried. And we don't know what happened to her children that we understand witnessed their mother's death. What we do know is this: the Cherry Mansion still stands today where it did back then. The Kendall House and the gallows or the hanging tree, whichever it was, are long since gone, replaced by private homes that line what is now Hogohigi Street, homes that overlook the majestic Tennessee River and the spot where Polly Hughes was sent to meet her maker.